If you think customer service is just smiling and saying, "Have a nice day," then welcome to America, where common sense has taken an indefinite leave of absence. Every single day, customer service counters deal with real complaints so wild that after hearing them, you genuinely have to check if you are still awake. Today's story starts at an amusement park. A man buys a ticket, he waits in line, he gets on a roller coaster, not once, twice. He is screaming, hands in the air, enjoying every second of the speed like a man who just discovered the meaning of life. Then he heads straight to customer service. With a disturbingly serious face, he asks for a refund because the roller coaster is too fast. He claims the speed is dangerous and suggests they install extra brakes, maybe even car-style seat belts. Honestly, might as well throw in rearview mirrors while they are at it. The staff try to explain that roller coasters are fast by design, not because something is broken, but hey, no problem. He does not get his refund, but he does leave the world with an important lesson. Not everyone understands what they just bought a ticket for, and that was only the beginning. Story 2. The ocean is too salty. Everything starts at a beachfront resort, a place people go to relax, unwind, and occasionally make decisions nobody asked for. While walking along the beach, one guest bends down, scoops up a handful of ocean water and drinks it. A few seconds later, his face says betrayal, way too salty, completely unacceptable. And instead of asking himself why he just drank ocean water, he decides to do the logical thing in his mind: file a complaint. In his email, he says the resort failed to provide any warning that the ocean water is salty. No signs, no instructions. No, please, do not drink the ocean. According to him, this is a serious customer service failure. He does not stop there. He suggests the resort should install signs warning guests not to drink seawater to prevent similar incidents in the future. The front desk replies politely, thanks him for the feedback, and asks absolutely no follow-up questions. Conclusion: the ocean has been salty for a very long time, long before humans learned how to file complaints. Story 3. The ocean is too loud at night. Everything starts with what seems like the perfect choice: a hotel room with an ocean view, waves, fresh air, a postcard scene. At least on the brochure, real life is different. When night falls and everything gets quiet, the ocean starts doing what it has always done: making noise. The guest spends the whole night tossing and turning, waves crashing over and over. No sleep, no relaxation. By morning, he decides to report a very serious issue to the front desk. In his complaint, he asks the hotel to find a way to turn the waves off at night, or at least lower the volume. According to him, the ocean is too loud and completely unsuitable for a luxury vacation. Management reads the feedback, keeps things professional, acknowledges the comment, and promises to look into it. No one explains that the ocean does not have a power switch. No one mentions that nature does not come with a remote control. Conclusion: nature does not have a remote, and the batteries cannot be removed. Story 4. The desert is too dry. Everything starts when a tourist arrives in the desert with very optimistic expectations. In his imagination, the place would have golden sunlight, wide open spaces, and once-in-a-lifetime photos. Reality delivers exactly what the name promises: dry, very dry, and absolutely not green. After taking a few test photos, he quickly gets disappointed. The scenery feels boring: no trees, no lakes, nothing that makes the pictures look post-worthy. So the problem is no longer the camera, it is the desert. He files a complaint, saying the location is not suitable for tourism because it is too dry and looks bad in photos. He even suggests adding artificial lakes or some greenery, so tourists can take better pictures. Staff receive the feedback, gently explain that this is literally what a desert is: dry sand and very little water. No one brings up Instagram. Conclusion: Instagram does not change geography, and the desert does not care about filters. Story 5. Too much mountain in the mountain view. Everything starts with what seems like a very smart choice: a hotel room with a mountain view. Fresh air, dramatic scenery, morning sunlight hitting the peaks, at least in his imagination. In reality, the sunlight does not show up. When he pulls back the curtains, the guest realizes a major issue: the mountains are there, A lot of mountains, and they are standing very still, blocking the sunlight completely. The room is much darker than expected, and according to him, this is unacceptable. He contacts the front desk and proposes a bold solution. The hotel should cut the mountains down, just a little, lower them slightly so sunlight can get into the room. Not much, just enough. The staff freeze for a few seconds, trying to find the most polite response to a request that exists in no procedure manual. No one brings a saw to the mountains. No one has plans to relocate the landscape. Conclusion: mountain view means there are mountains, and no one brings a chainsaw for room service. Story 6. The moon is too bright. Everything starts on a quiet vacation night. The guest turns off the lights, closes the curtains, and gets ready to sleep, but one thing refuses to cooperate. The moon. It is there, round, bright, shining straight into the room like a spotlight. According to the guest, the moonlight is too bright and completely ruins the luxury vacation experience he paid for. He spends the whole night unable to sleep, and the next morning he decides to file a complaint. His request is very clear. The hotel should install outdoor curtains on the building to block the moonlight, because if rooms have curtains, then the moon should have one too. At least at night, management receives the feedback, keeps the familiar, polite tone, and promises to look into it. No one explains that the moon is not listed as a hotel amenity. Conclusion: when the moon ruins your sleep, even NASA has nothing to say. Story 7. Too much snow at a ski resort. Everything starts at a ski resort, a place where snow is literally the main selling point. The guest arrives with ski gear, vacation energy, and a very optimistic expectation that everything will go smoothly. Just a few minutes later, he slips and falls. Nothing serious. No major injury, but enough to make the experience not fun anymore. And instead of realizing that skiing is slippery by nature, he identifies the real culprit: the snow. He files a complaint, blaming the excessive amount of snow, and claims the resort failed to properly control outdoor conditions. According to him, the snow is too thick, too cold, and completely unfriendly to guests. His proposed solution is impressively creative. The resort should install outdoor heating systems to melt some of the snow, so guests can ski more safely. Staff receive the feedback. Maintain professional smiles and ask no further questions. Conclusion: skiing without wanting snow, a concept that only exists in customer complaints. Story 8. Clouds do not look like the ads. Everything starts on a completely normal commercial flight. The plane reaches cruising altitude. The passenger pulls up the window shade and looks outside with a familiar expectation. White, fluffy clouds, soft and dreamy. Just like in travel ads, reality disagrees. The clouds out there look messy, not round, not fluffy, not even close to what he saw on posters or airline promo videos, and this makes him feel deceived. After the flight, he files a complaint. The message is very clear. The airline needs to improve how the clouds look from the window. According to him, the flight experience would be better if the clouds looked nicer and more uniform. Matching what was advertised, customer service receives the feedback, keeps a polite tone, and thanks him for the suggestion. No one explains that clouds are not designed, and no one mentions that weather does not belong to the marketing department. Conclusion: clouds are not part of the marketing team, and the sky does not read brochures. Story 9. The ocean is not as blue as the brochure. Everything starts with a very promising travel brochure. Turquoise water, crystal clear waves, colors so vibrant it looks like the ocean was edited before printing. The guest looks at it and believes he is about to meet the perfect version of the sea. When he arrives, he stands in front of the real ocean. It is blue, but not advertisement blue. The color feels darker, less shiny, and according to him, this is unacceptable. He compares the brochure photos with reality and files a complaint, asking the resort to find a way to change the color of the water. According to him, if the ad looks like that, then the ocean should at least try to match it. Especially during peak tourist season, staff receive the feedback. Maintain the usual polite manners. Thank him for the comment and do not argue further. Conclusion: the ocean does not use filters, and the real sea does not exist to be a backdrop for advertising. Story 10. Sushi is too raw. Everything starts at a sushi restaurant, a place where the menu is very clear and the fish has no intention of pretending to be grilled. The guest orders sushi with confidence, looks at the plate when it arrives, and immediately feels something is wrong. Raw fish too raw? According to him, this is not cuisine, it is a health hazard. He calls the staff over, accuses the restaurant of poisoning customers, and demands the kitchen cook the sushi immediately. Because in his logic, food that is not cooked should not be served. The chef is invited out to explain, calmly saying that traditional sushi is raw fish, and that is exactly what the guest ordered. This does not reassure him. He points toward the kitchen and asks why having a kitchen. If not everything is cooked, staff maintain professional silence and let science speak for itself. Conclusion: not every kitchen is an oven, and not every dish needs to be cooked to exist. Story 11. Chicken tastes too much like chicken. Everything starts at a normal restaurant where the guest orders chicken with complete confidence. The plate arrives. Hot, correct dish. Correct name. He takes one bite, then stops. Not because it is bad, but because it is too chicken. According to him, the chicken flavor is too strong, too chicken, and it makes him uncomfortable. He calls the staff over and complains that the dish needs to be adjusted. Less chicken flavor, softer. More neutral. Less like chicken. The staff tries to stay polite, explaining that this is fresh chicken, and chicken usually tastes like chicken. This does not help. The guest nods, looking like he is deeply considering a major culinary issue of humanity. The conversation ends in silence. No one knows how to reduce the taste of chicken. Conclusion: chicken cannot pretend to be beef, and chicken does not apologize for being itself. Story 12. Steak has too much meat. Everything starts at a steakhouse, a place where the menu is very honest. The guest looks at it, orders a steak with confidence, like he fully understands what he is about to eat. When the dish arrives, everything looks exactly right. Meat hot. Very much steak. He cuts a piece, chews for a few seconds, then stops. There is a problem. According to him, this steak has too much meat. Too rich, too steak. He calls the staff over and explains that he wants a steak with less meat. Lighter, easier to eat. Maybe like steak, but not too much like steak. The staff stands there for a few seconds, trying to process the information. They nod, they smile, and are not sure what question comes next. There's no option in the system for steak, but not too steak. The conversation ends with polite confusion on both sides. Conclusion: steak is not a salad, and meat does not know how to apologize for being too much meat. Story 13. Fries taste too much like potatoes. Everything starts at a fast food place, where everything is designed to be as simple as possible. The guest orders a serving of fries, looks at the hot box of fries with complete trust. He takes one bite, then stops. Something is not right. According to him, the fries taste too much like potatoes. The flavor is too obvious, too natural, and that makes him unhappy. He calls the staff over and complains that he expected a more neutral taste. Less potato, lighter, more acceptable. The staff calmly tries to explain that fries are made from real potatoes, so tasting like potatoes is completely normal. This explanation does not reassure him. He slowly nods like he just discovered a difficult truth to swallow. The conversation ends in polite silence with no clear solution offered. Conclusion: potatoes cannot forget. They are potatoes, and potatoes are not required to be neutral. Story 14. Croissants are too flaky. Everything starts at a bakery where croissants are displayed with golden layers, looking exactly like what they are supposed to be. The guest picks one, holds it with high expectations, and takes the first bite, and then crumbs happen. Tiny flakes fall onto the plate, onto the table. And according to the guest, this is clearly a serious design flaw. He calls the staff over and complains that the croissant is too flaky, too fragile, and not stable enough to eat. According to him, the bakery should improve the baking technique. Less crumbs, more structure. Maybe a modern version of a croissant, where everything is better controlled. The staff listens, nods, and does not argue that this is literally what a croissant is. The exchange ends with perfect politeness and a small amount of confusion. Conclusion: bread is not a spaceship, and croissants are not designed to withstand engineering pressure. Story 15. Vanilla ice cream is too white. Everything starts at what seems like a perfectly normal ice cream shop. The guest orders a classic vanilla scoop. A safe, familiar choice with no expected controversy. The ice cream arrives, smooth white. Exactly what vanilla is supposed to look like. He stares at the scoop for a few seconds, then suspicion appears. According to him, the ice cream is too white, suspiciously white, and this leads to only one conclusion in his mind. It must be watered down. He calls the staff over and makes a very specific request. The shop should add some color to vanilla ice cream so it looks more real, at least off-white or light yellow. This level of white makes him uncomfortable eating it. The staff tries to explain that vanilla is naturally white and not all ice cream needs to look rich to be trustworthy. The conversation ends with tense politeness and a very skeptical look from the guest. Conclusion: vanilla does not cosplay chocolate and color does not determine the honesty of ice cream. Story 16. Lavender candle smells too much like lavender. Everything starts at a scented candle shop, a place where fragrances are promised to bring relaxation and peace. The guest chooses a candle with a very clear label: lavender, simple, transparent. No tricks involved. When he lights the candle, the room quickly fills with the scent of lavender, and that becomes the problem. According to the guest, the smell is too real, too obvious, and not subtle at all. He believes a lavender candle should only suggest lavender, not actually smell this much like lavender. He returns to the shop to file a complaint. According to him, the scent should be lighter, more vague, more symbolic than realistic. Lavender, but not too lavender. A kind of lavender meant for imagination. The staff listens with a professional expression, nods, and does not argue that scents are made to be smelled. Conclusion: scents do not know how to lie, and lavender is not obligated to pretend to be something else. Story 17. Cappuccino comes in a cup. Everything starts at a coffee shop, where the guest orders a cappuccino with full confidence. When the drink arrives, it is placed in front of him in a hot ceramic cup. And that is the problem. He looks at the cup for a few seconds, then asks the staff a confused question. He thought cappuccino would be served in a bottle, like soda. According to him, drinks should have a lid so they can be shaken before drinking. The proper way. The staff gently explains that cappuccino is hot coffee served in a cup, not in a bottle. This does not satisfy him. He keeps wondering if there is no bottle. How is the flavor supposed to be shaken evenly? The conversation ends in polite silence. No bottle appears. No lid is offered. Conclusion: not everything needs to be shaken, and hot coffee was not meant to be shaken. Story 18. Ocean view with too much ocean. Everything starts with what seems like an impossible to mess up choice. A hotel room with an ocean view, sunlight, sea breeze waves, and a brochure, perfect vacation feeling. At least in the guest's imagination, reality is different. The moment he opens the balcony door, he gets hit by everything. Ocean-related, constant waves, strong wind, the salty smell of seawater entering the room, humid air, and as far as the eye can see, ocean. He is shocked. This is not what he expected when he booked an ocean view room. The next morning, he files a complaint at the front desk. He claims the room has too much ocean, too many waves, too much wind, and too much smell. According to him, an ocean view should be for looking only, not for a full sensory experience. The front desk listens, nods, and records the feedback with complete professionalism. No one explains that the ocean has no settings. No one mentions that nature does not adjust to personal taste. Conclusion: a view is meant to be seen, not adjusted. Story 19. The beach has too much sand. Everything starts at a beachfront resort where the guest steps onto the beach, expecting the perfect relaxing scene, nice sunshine, blue sky, ocean ahead. And then he looks down. Sand, a lot of sand. Sand sticks to his sandals. Sand clings to his feet. Sand sneaks into towels, bags, and even his mood. After just a few minutes of walking, he decides the experience is not okay at all. Instead of accepting reality, he returns to the front desk with a serious proposal. He suggests the beach should be vacuumed every morning, at least the walking areas. Because in his opinion, a luxury resort should not make guests directly interact with too much sand. The front desk listens, trying to keep a neutral expression. No arguing, no long explanations, just politely recording the feedback. with the familiar tired smile of the service industry. Conclusion: sand is not a design flaw. Sand is the identity. Story 20: the minibar should be mine. Everything starts in a perfectly normal hotel room. The guest puts his luggage down, looks around, and opens the minibar. Inside are sodas, snacks, and a few small bottles of alcohol. No lock, no warning sign. It looks very inviting. He takes a bottle, drinks it casually. With a very simple thought, I paid for this room. Everything in it belongs to me. The problem only appears at checkout. The bill includes minibar charges. He immediately objects. According to his logic, if the hotel places items in his room, then they are shared property. At least for the duration of his stay, the front desk gently explains that the minibar is not free. It is like a small store inside the room. He disagrees because a store should not be located next to the bed. Conclusion: being in the room does not mean ownership. Sometimes it is just a very confident misunderstanding. Story 21: the elevator is too fast. Everything starts at a high-rise hotel, where the guest steps into the elevator feeling completely relaxed. A long day, a luxurious space, and he expects a slow ride up. Something calm, something to breathe and feel the moment. But the elevator does not cooperate. The doors close. The floor numbers fly by. Before he can even steady himself, ding, he has arrived. No background music, no suspense, no emotional build-up. He feels disappointed, almost robbed of the experience. Right after that, he sends feedback to the front desk. According to him, the elevator is too fast, and it ruins the cinematic hotel experience. He suggests adding a slow mode, so guests have time to enjoy the journey. Like in movies, the staff records the feedback with a professional expression. No one says that elevators are designed to move, not to create emotions. Conclusion: an elevator is not an amusement ride, and drama does not always come with a button. Story 22: the room is too quiet. Everything starts at a hotel advertised as absolutely quiet. No traffic noise, no people, no loud hallways. A paradise for people who want to rest, but not for this guest. On the first night, he lies on the bed, turns off the lights, closes his eyes, and cannot sleep. Not because it is loud, but because it is too quiet. No soft hum from the air conditioner. No sound of someone closing a door next door. No noise for his brain to hold on to. The next morning, he seriously reports the issue to the front desk. According to him, the room is too quiet, and it makes him uncomfortable. He is used to sleeping with traffic noise, TV sounds, or at least some kind of background noise. He suggests the hotel should provide more sound. The staff listens, nods, and records the feedback with familiar professionalism. No one asks if he tried turning on the TV. Conclusion: silence used to be the dream, but for some people, it is also unbearable. Story 23: where is my bedtime story? Everything starts at a luxury hotel. The guest checks in, looking very satisfied. Nice room, big bed, soft lighting. Everything feels perfect until night falls, around 10 p.m. He calls the front desk with a very specific request. He asks if the hotel offers a butler service to come up and tell a bedtime story. According to him, after a long, tiring day, a gentle story would help him relax. The front desk stays silent for a few seconds, just to make sure they heard that correctly. Then with absolute politeness, they explain that the hotel does not provide bedtime storytelling services for adults. He is not happy. He believes that at this room price, the hotel should care more about emotional experience, at least a short story. Like when he was a child. Conclusion: a hotel is a place to rest, not childhood on demand. Story 24: sunglasses do not cancel the sun. Everything starts on a bright sunny day. The guest steps outside wearing a brand new pair of sunglasses. Nice design, not cheap. Very high expectations. He puts them on, looks up, and the sun is still there. Still bright, still blinding, very much not gone. He is not happy. He goes back to the store with a clear complaint. According to him, the sunglasses are advertised as sun protection. But when he wears them, the sun is still too bright. He expected a full blackout effect. Like turning the outside world to dark mode, the staff gently explains that sunglasses reduce glare. They do not make the sun disappear. This does not convince him. He believes that if the light is not completely blocked, then the product has failed its purpose. The conversation ends in polite silence. Conclusion: if you want to turn the sun off completely, you probably need a bunker. Story 25. The air mattress should know better. Everything starts after a test night on a brand new air mattress. The guest wakes up, back on the floor. Mood at rock bottom. The mattress is completely flat. He brings the mattress back to the store, looking very upset. According to him, the product has a serious defect. It cannot hold air. The staff asks a very basic question. Did you inflate the mattress before using it? The answer is no. He explains that he believed the mattress would know when to inflate itself. According to him, with modern technology, an air mattress should automatically adjust to body weight. At the very least, it should recognize when someone lies down. The staff tries to stay calm, explaining that an air mattress needs air. Without air, it cannot inflate. The conversation ends in slightly uncomfortable silence. Conclusion: objects do not have intuition, and air mattresses cannot read minds. Story 26. Treadmills have no finish line. Everything starts at a modern gym, where the guest steps onto a treadmill with serious focus. He presses start runs steadily. Breathing is controlled. Eyes locked on the screen. 5 minutes pass. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. He starts to get irritated because there is one clear problem. He keeps running but never arrives anywhere. After the workout, he sends an email complaint to management. According to him, the treadmill not having a finish line is a serious design flaw. He believes exercisers need a sense of completion. They need to know they have arrived. Running without going anywhere makes him feel pointless. He suggests the gym should add a clear finish point, or at least a message saying you have arrived. Staff read the feedback. Pause for a few seconds, then record the comment with absolute professionalism. Conclusion: a treadmill is not a racing game, and sometimes the goal is simply running. Story 27. The TV only shows what is on. Everything starts in a quiet hotel room. The guest turns on the TV to relax after a long day. The screen lights up. A show is playing. Not what he wants to watch. He changes the channel. Still nothing good. No movie he likes. No program he has in mind, and that genuinely makes him angry. He calls the front desk to complain. According to him, the TV only showing what is currently on is an unacceptable limitation. He expects the TV to understand his mood and automatically display content that fits how he feels. At the very least, it should guess what he wants to watch. The front desk gently explains that traditional TVs only show scheduled channels. If he wants to choose content freely, he can use streaming platforms. He stays silent for a few seconds, clearly not satisfied. Conclusion: TVs cannot read minds, and expecting too much usually ends in disappointment. Story 28. Zebras are just painted horses. Everything starts at a sunny zoo, where the guest stands for a long time in front of the zebra enclosure, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. Full suspicion. The zebra stands still, breathing calmly. Black and white stripes so clear, almost too perfect, and that is the problem. He calls a staff member over and asks a very serious question. Are these real zebras, or are they just horses painted with stripes? According to him, the stripes look too even, too similar, and might be a decoration trick to fool visitors. The staff explains that zebras are a separate species, and the stripes are completely natural. He nods, but his eyes stay doubtful. He believes the zoo should be more transparent because not everyone believes what they see. The conversation ends as the zebras continue standing there, offering no explanation at all. Conclusion: nature does not cheat, and not everything that looks strange is a conspiracy developer mode. Story 29. Why is there water in the aquarium? Everything starts at a large aquarium where the guest stands in front of a fish tank. Clearly annoyed, fish are swimming. Blue lights glow. Everything looks very wet. He tilts his head, stares into the tank for a few seconds, then turns to a staff member with a completely serious concern. According to him, having to look at fish through water distorts the image. Details are unclear. The visual experience, in his opinion, is not up to standard. His proposed solution is very simple. He suggests the aquarium drain some of the water, or ideally all of it, so visitors can see the fish directly, more clearly like an exhibition, without that annoying layer of water. The staff stands still for a few seconds, processing the information, then with extreme politeness. They explain that fish need water to survive, and if the water is removed, there will be no fish left to look at. Conclusion: fish need water more than guests, and not every experience is designed for humans. Story 30. Wild animals will not stay put. Everything starts at a national park, where the guest joins a nature tour with high expectations. He has been walking for a long time, wearing hiking boots, hat on camera, ready. But after nearly 2 hours, he only sees a few birds flying past and one deer disappearing into the bushes. He is not happy. At the information desk, he files a complaint with a very serious tone. According to him, wild animals move too unpredictably, which makes them hard to observe. He suggests the park should arrange for animals to stay still at fixed locations, or at least appear on schedule so visitors do not wait for nothing. Staff listen, maintain perfect politeness, then gently explain that these are wild animals. They are not trained, they do not follow schedules, and they do not take appointments from humans. Conclusion: nature does not run on a timetable, and wild means inconvenient. Story 31. Live music does not sound like Spotify. Everything starts at a live concert. Bright lights, a packed crowd. The band walks on stage to loud applause. Everything looks impressive until the music starts. The guest stands with arms crossed, listens to the first few songs, and starts getting annoyed. The music sounds different. The singer's voice is not the same as on Spotify. The instruments are slightly off, and most importantly, nothing sounds as perfect as it does in headphones. After the show, he sends a complaint. According to him, live music should sound exactly like the studio version. At the very least, they should play the studio track and have the artist sing along for the correct experience, because he paid to hear something familiar, not a creative version. No one explains that live means live. No editing, no replay, no auto-tune. Conclusion: this is the endless battle between customer service and basic logic. And now it is your turn. What is the most unreasonable complaint you have ever heard? Leave a comment and together lose a little more faith in humanity.